It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio, 866-90-RED-EYE. Breaking news overnight. I can't even do it. But it was breaking news overnight.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce did not leave together from the stadium last night. There were other massively well-known public figures at games yesterday. OJ was at the Bills game.
All right. It was horrible, though, when he shouted, "Man, the Bills are killing it."
Yeah. Well, apparently, he suspects that the real killers were somewhere at Highmark Stadium for that game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wrote, they said, he acts as if it didn't even happen because he's talking about, he's doing this whole thing. It was on X.
Mm.
And he's, I listened for 5 or 6 seconds. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to hear this. I'm not going to listen to this crap. He was talking about the game and like analyzing the game like he used to. It's just like
nobody cares what you have to say about the game.
It's like, that was the biggest game of the, they say, whoever they are, it was the biggest game of the weekend. And so the one thing that was missing was OJ's perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, man. A lot of people apparently were ticked off. I know some people said they were going to count how many times the camera switched or, focused on Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. Someone wrote 59. I don't know if that was true or not. 59 times they went to her in the box.
I don't know who cares to count that.
Well, it would show the media, because that's the story for me.
I mean, Kevin Tober and those guys.
Kevin's got to do it. I don't know whether that's true or not. It was the biggest, like I said, I woke up. I went to sleep about 5 o'clock, and whatever time I woke up, I don't remember what it was. But I just flicked on the TV, and I'm just, okay, let me just go through before I go back to sleep again. And all of a sudden, there I am, and there she is right there. I didn't see the football game first. The camera was right on her, and I went, wow, how many times? And then when I went back to sleep and woke up later on, just seen on social media, I said, I think there was over 59 times that the cameras switched to her. It's the media obsession with, it was the same thing with Meghan and Harry.
Yeah.
The media obsession with it, and I don't know what draws people into that to the extent that it does. Maybe that's why I'm interested in it, because it's a complete mystery, because I could care less. I don't care. I wish everybody the best. I'm not jealous of anybody. Jealousy is, thank goodness, something that, and I'm sure because of my parents, was something that, I never really thought of. I really didn't care what anybody else was doing, but live and let live. But you do notice, when you observe for a living, you do notice certain media obsessions, and you ask then, why? And they'll say, well, because there's an audience. Yeah, but you guys are hitting it with what I view as unusual obsession with it.
Yeah, it's, to me, it goes beyond what it would warrant.
Yeah.
One glance into the box where they're all gathering or whatever and watching the game. All right. One story on them being a couple. Okay. But to the point of breaking news, they left separately. Of course they did.
See, me, I'd rather see the guy, the huge fat guy with his shirt off going, yeah!
Yeah. Right.
It's a football game.
That's a fan who cares about the game.
Yeah, I want to watch football. And so that's to me, and it's been around for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think back, I mean, I can still remember Camelot. It was Camelot. This need of Americans to have, and the media and many Americans to have some type of fakeness in people that is viewed as like the royalty.
Yeah.
Thank goodness Robert Kennedy Jr. has destroyed that completely. Nobody looks like, oh, the Camelot. Well, that describes him.
That was the end of Camelot, right there.
The end of
An actual Kennedy was the end of the whole Kennedy Camelot thing.
That was just, I always thought as a kid that was even ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, in high school, whatever, because it kept growing and growing. And then, you know, you get to just these other people that, you know, and I guess pop stars fit that, you know, to some realm. But then it even gets, there's, you know, this Travis Kelce thing, you know, with her got to just a level of just bizarreness. You know, we've had the obsession with the royalty in Great Britain, which still blows my mind. I have no idea why. I can sit there and go, okay, I understand the tradition of what you're trying to do, but let's not overemphasize the importance of it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so the whole Meghan Harry thing is just, to me, just been, I don't care, but I'm really interested to the people that are obsessed and the media that is obsessed by it. Why? I don't quite understand it. I never have. I've never understood that type of insane pop craziness. I can appreciate what you do. And even when I was a young person, I really never went for autographs. It just wasn't a thing. I just wasn't, you know, it was like I'd rather meet you, shake your hand, and say, you really do a great job. I really admire what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you do, you know, you put in a lot of work, and that work makes a lot of people happy. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm done. I don't want to gawk.
No.
You know, I don't want to gawk at them. It's just like that. To me, if it would make me feel uncomfortable, I would think that it would make them feel uncomfortable, even though many of them live for it, live for the attention.
Yeah, I mean.
But I wouldn't want to be, you and I talked about it, I would never want to be a Taylor Swift, ever.
I never know how you could, you know, go day to day and have your life.
Yeah, that would be the thing. It's the privacy.
You know, and I wouldn't want that.
No.
That isn't worth it.
No, it's not. No, I won't speak for you. I can say that as an old man that has acquired a little bit of wisdom. Not a lot, but a little bit. No, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, there's well, first of all, you're famous, but then you're also famously wealthy.
Yeah, it's the lifestyle you would have to live in that case, where you'd have, you know, people around you and handlers.
Well,
and
it becomes especially dangerous too when there are people that have that obsession and take it you know, over the top, and it becomes dangerous.
I don't think I could handle having security, assistants,
and you would need it.
Chefs.
Yeah, and you have to have all of it.
I know you. When you get to that level, you do actually. And I guess I would feel that that I'd be trapped in my life.
Yeah.
And how do I get out of this?
Right.
And it's like, you really can't.
Right.
Well, unless you move up to the Northwest Territories.
Well, I mean, you would have to, well, think about that. You would have to
and
be
then,
somewhere where there are no people. And I enjoy being around people, but I wouldn't enjoy being in such an unpredictable situation.
I'm sorry, I can't do the Northwest Territories anymore because Trudeau is still over the Northwest Territories, so they would know exactly where you are at every single moment, what you're doing, what pronouns you were using. So you really, I can't use it.
Well, just tell them you're a Nazi, and then they would give you your room. They'd give you plenty of room.
Go to the border. Your purpose here? To promote Nazism. Come on in.
Come on in. Come on in. We'll take care of you.
Parliament's ready to give you a standing ovation.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you need? Just let us know what you need. No,
there's been a lot of political mistakes, but that is one for the ages. That really is.
No,
that's one for the ages.
It's one that will burn for a long, long time. That one is going to be a scar for a long, long time. I mean, it goes beyond gaffe because a number of people had to make that event happen.
Yeah. Well, the speaker quit. Speaker resigned in Canada,
right,
because of it.
And it's not something that the guy did recently.
No. Well,
he did this generations ago.
Was he 98? I think the guy was 98 years old.
Right.
And it was like when they put it all together, well, okay, but he fought in Ukraine against somebody and that just shows you. I mean, we talk about the ignorant society we live in that just, education just isn't being taught. And someone in Canada went, excuse me, this person Ukrainian fought against the Russians, then he had to be a Nazi. They did the research. Oh, yeah,
right.
He was a Nazi.
Yeah, it was a Nazi.
Oh.
Because it was the Nazis fighting the Russians.
Right.
They got to the point of a standing ovation.
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling.
Well, that's the attention to detail you get.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yep.
My gosh.
Yep. We'll just ignore history. We don't care about the truth, but this is what happens when you don't. This is, in part, a result of rewriting history, of revisionist history over and over again. Because it is quite likely that the majority of the people in that chain of events that led up to that day of them giving him a standing ovation didn't put it together because they didn't know history.
Yeah.
That's how you get there. Ignorance.
All right, coming up, the COVID poll and the automobile strike. It's like, here's the headline here. Biden, Trump visits fall flat for auto workers getting ready for long strike.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
The auto workers ask, they're just all politicians. And what it seems like they all want is the complaint, massive subsidies to build electric vehicles. We want part of it.
Right.
You're dead as a union if you think that's your growth.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by Howes Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Among the delegation of USDA's recent agricultural trade mission to Chile, representatives from various state departments of agriculture. What are their thoughts about the potential of future and increased sales of their farm and food goods to the South American market?
This has been a great opportunity to really work on the relationships, our rapport, and build a better understanding and appreciation for the Chilean culture, but also areas in where we can complement each other, given the fact that our growing seasons are opposite of each other.
Seeing opportunities for us, for our Colorado producers, especially beef, dairy, beverages, consumer-facing products that we've seen the opportunities here, but also what we can take home and see as complementary from our Chilean partners as well.
North Dakota Ag Commissioner Doug Goring and Colorado Ag Commissioner Kate Greenberg, respectively. 11 state ag department and commission representatives participated in the Chilean ag trade mission. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, latest poll among U.S. adults, 52% say they will probably or definitely not get the new COVID-19 vaccine, according to the latest Kaiser Family Foundation Monitor poll. 23% of adults definitely plan to get the vaccine, while another 23% will probably get it. Among the people who say they definitely or probably will get the new shot, most are Democrats and or at least 65 years old, the poll found. 70% of Democrats plan to get the new vaccine, 24% are Republicans. What about independents? They don't show independents here. Survey was conducted between September 6th and the 13th.
Independents have not decided yet. They're going to wait for both sides.
I had a doctor's appointment last week, and I asked him about it, and he just went, and just, sat there, and he looks at my chart, everything else. He goes, well, you've got the two underlying conditions, type 2 diabetes, but it's under control, and you're old in that risk group, but you're not really old. Just saying that I'm in really good health and good shape. And he said, and the type 2 is not, you're under control. Remember I asked that question way back when they said diabetes, and I said under control. It's not the same. If you're under control, which means, you're not doing any damage to your body, then you're not an underlying condition. Right. So he just said, your choice. Didn't tell me not to, didn't tell me to. He goes, he said, no. He goes, all the stuff's not going to stop transmission, not going to stop you from getting it. But he said, you probably got it already and didn't know it.
I think at this point, we're at the point where everyone believes in herd immunity and also knows what their own immunity is.
Well, here's a question.
And those are the only people that are going to be concerned about it, those who greatly are concerned about their own immunity.
And this question hasn't been answered. If, let's say, you got it last, I don't even know what the time frame is. Let's say the last shot you got was a year and a half ago. All right. You probably were exposed to it, I don't know, dozens of times.
Yeah.
We talk about herd immunity, but it's still been around. COVID didn't disappear. It's still there. Probably a lot of people had minor, they didn't test it because their symptoms were minor. But this thing has constantly still been around, and people have been catching it and not knowing. You retain that immunity, do you not?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio. from the Uniden America Studios.
And I'm Gary McNamara along with Eric Harley.
Gary, the Dallas County Sheriff's Office is working with the North Texas Crime Stoppers to solve the fatality accident that occurred Thursday, September 21st between 6:05 a.m. and 6:10 a.m. Central Time. The NTCS is now offering up to $5,000 reward, and Oak Farms Dairy has upped their reward of an additional $15,000, throwing that in for information that leads to the arrest and indictment of the suspect involved in running over Arlington police officer Darren McMichael. They're actively investigating the accident that, again, occurred just after 6 a.m. on I-20 near the St. Augustine Drive exit. This is westbound I-20 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're seeking the community's assistance in locating and identifying what they describe as a dark-colored Dodge or Chrysler-type vehicle and identifying the driver that was involved in the accident and fled the scene. So for our truck drivers out there going back and forth, if you were on westbound I-20 that morning, again, this goes back to September 21st of this year, and it was just after 6 a.m. between 6:05 and 6:10 a.m. If you witnessed anything out of the ordinary that morning, please contact North Texas Crime Stoppers at 877-373-8477. Again, 877-373-8477, or you can call 214-373-8477. And again, they're looking for what they describe as a dark-colored Dodge or Chrysler type vehicle. I've heard it in the media. They described it as a sedan, and they want to get the identity of the driver that was involved. What had happened is Officer McMichael was on his way to work on his motorcycle. He was traveling behind an SUV. That SUV stopped or slowed down very quickly, and then he hit that SUV. The driver of that SUV, by the way, stayed on the scene. But after Officer McMichael hit that other SUV, he was in traffic. He had fallen over into traffic. And then the other car that they're looking for, the owner of that car they're looking for, ran over Officer McMichael. He later died of his injuries. And so, again, authorities are looking for any information you may have if you're a truck driver and you were on westbound I-20 the morning of September 21st between 6:05 and 6:10 a.m. That's would have been I-20 and St. Augustine Drive, westbound lanes. If any of the trucking companies out there in this area want to put the word out for any of their drivers who may have been on that stretch of road at that time, the authorities would greatly appreciate it.
More on this poll on COVID regarding giving the new COVID shot to children. More than half of parents say they probably or definitely will not do so, despite the fact that the CDC recommends it for children 6 months and older.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to other illnesses, including measles, mumps, rubella, most adults 68%, and parents 55% support requiring vaccines for healthy children. However, 43% of parents and 31% of adults believe the vaccination of kids should be left up to the parents. The people surveyed said that they are more likely to get the flu shot and the new RSV vaccine than they are to get the new COVID vaccine. My doctor did bring up the RSV vaccine, but said they really recommend it. I think it was over 70 years of age for that respiratory disease.
Okay.
That is out there. He did ask me if I had a tetanus shot in a while. I said, I don't remember. He goes, then get one.
Yeah, that actually happened a couple of years ago with my doctor. Said we don't have a tetanus on record for you over the last decade. You want to get one? I said, yeah, sure. And I got one.
Have they talked about the flu vaccine this year at all?
I've already gotten mine, yeah.
No, I don't mean whether you got it, but did they talk about how accurate they believe it will be?
Well, we won't know that until after flu season.
Oh, okay. I thought that they would give not, I don't know if it's a prediction, but an early analysis of what they're thinking, because they know that the flu viruses that are out there now, even if people aren't getting them.
Yeah, but they won't know the accuracy until we actually go through a bit of that flu season. They're going to have to get some time behind us in order to find that out.
I know last year it was like I got from the pharmacy for the flu, like in August. So I went, and they went, nah, you need to wait till end of September, early October. They wanted me to wait.
Yeah, I got mine. It was the second week, I think, of September.
Okay, yeah.
But my doctor's always told me if you think you might need another one, you can get one after the first of the year. But I've never had an issue with it. I've only gotten the flu twice in my life.
I've gotten the bad flu once. I don't know what the other stuff was that I got, whether it was a stomach virus, whatever. But I remember I got influenza so bad that I got the walking pneumonia, they called it.
Yeah, I've had pneumonia several times.
And that was, and I never really thought about it. I mean, I knew I was really sick, and then I got pneumonia, and someone said that was influenza you had, because I was horribly sick. I mean, it was, and just a couple of years ago when there was a bad flu strain, and my doctor said, you get the flu? And I go, oh, I don't know. I mean, I've been sick. He goes, no, you'd know. And I forget, he was really insistent. He goes, you know, this is a bad strain this year. It's bad. And so I've only got it the one time, and I mean, it was horrible. I mean, it was the worst I've ever been sick.
Yeah.
For about a 2 or 3 day period. And I mean, it was brutal. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. I mean, it was it was bad. But, you wonder. I mean, those are the things you don't know. I mean, you just wonder on so many different of these viruses and things like that, flu, and COVID is a perfect example that, what is you never hear it. You never hear, okay, this is, I don't know if it was the CDC that did it, but there was some organization out there that said they believe 100% of the people have been infected with it.
Yeah, that would sound about right.
By this time.
By now, yeah.
And they actually said a ways back, unless you're in solitary confinement and seeing nobody, that you have that you've gotten it. But it's just I don't know. I find it. I guess you would look and say, okay, if everybody has gotten it, then how long does the immunity last?
Well, I would think that your body is always, again, if you don't have a compromised immunity to begin with, your body is always building immunity to all of it. Because you're likely repeatedly exposed to COVID.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Not just because of you got it. It's you're constantly being hit by it. And so that's what we don't know is the average person, do they actually have immunity from it?
Likely. Yeah.
And that isn't being talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, likely.
Now, the polling really shows what we know to be the truth. The majority of people who are going to get this vaccine are elderly. They're the most susceptible.
Right, the ones who are greatly concerned because of their own compromised immunity.
And it doesn't matter that the CDC is recommending it for children 6 months and older. Most people, more than half, are not going to let their child get it. Why? They know the science on it. It doesn't really affect children. And there are questions about the vaccine, especially at a very, very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And so really the polls, and there are some people, there are people that are wearing, I see people with the paper masks on every single day, every single day walking around, believing it. And it's like you want to go up to them and say, that doesn't do anything. They may quote Fauci, though.
If it settles their nerves, they tend to stand out, but if it makes them feel more comfortable, okay, fine. Just don't give me a mandate.
And they still say it on the plane. I've been flying a lot lately. By the way, masks are optional, but please respect.
Mm-hmm.
If a person chooses to wear a mask or not to wear a mask.
Yep. Yeah, I had a captain, airline captain, say something to the effect of, don't get me started about mandates, but respect others and what their choice is. And that's it. And that's where we are as a society. It's where we've always been because we are always taking risks every single day. And we should be able to assess our own risks. And that's exactly how we behave. There was no way you were ever going to control the complete behavior of an entire global society, period. Even shutdowns. Well, you can only go from A to B and only for these excuses.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
Nobody was enforcing that. Wow. Nobody enforced it.
No,
ever.
They didn't. And even though
Except Tom Brady.
Even though we had our letters.
Yeah, which was bogus. And Tom Brady in a park.
Well, that showed us they'll go after the rich and the elite.
That's right. How dare you?
Well, we knew at that time when they came down when they started closing down outdoor parks. And even I believe it was I don't know if it was in my county or Dallas County, where they did the whole thing that only 4 kids can play together outside.
Yeah, so I don't remember that in my county, but nobody ever enforced it.
No, I don't think everybody did.
Nobody ever.
But the fact that
they may have closed a couple of parks here and there, but they didn't enforce anything of the big shutdown mandates because you can't. Because people have to go and get groceries. Some people still had to go to work. You still had to, and there was the problem to begin with. Something we called shared air from the beginning. And the dynamics of these bogus shutdowns where multiple people, basically everyone in that household is likely going to be leaving at some point a few times a week at least and coming back into that household. And then they're going to all be in close confined quarters.
And not be going outside because they've been told not to go outside.
And that was going to be how this really became infectious to others.
Or outside in groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the summer of 2020 with the riots, where, okay, as long as you're in a defund the police riot, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And, it just became, and I think, had it been handled differently? Well, first of all, I don't even know if any of the vaccines would be on the market yet. How much testing would you need in a real scenario? Because it's only 2023.
Probably 7 years.
The vaccines haven't been out 3 years yet.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Hurley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Yeah, that one story from San Francisco that nearly all San Francisco restaurants that were polled were vandalized in the last month. Like over 90%.
Yeah.
Like 97%.
Look, all is lost
polls
in San Francisco for those who want to live in a peaceful, lawful area. That city is not it. You can't, I don't know how you conduct any business in that city. I really don't.
Neither do I.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.